What's up, everybody? We always talk about changing the world, and today I have one of my favorite guests on the show to help me talk about how we're going to change the world together.
Hi, my name is Michael Johnson. I'm a ballroom dance professional, a life coach, and a peak performance expert. I'm part of a group of motivated people who are dedicated to attaining emotional mastery and unlocking our full potential. We don't believe others are responsible for how we feel. In fact, we don't believe anyone can make us feel anything. We believe in the magic of ballroom dance. It has taught us how to improve our bodies, challenge our minds, and inspire our souls. And in return, I want to share those lessons with the world. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life.
What's up, everybody? Michael Johnson here with the Magic for Life podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. We sure appreciate you all out in the audience, and we're glad you're here today. And when I say we, I've got my special guest, one of my favorite people to have on the show. You guys have, if you've been listening to the podcast from the beginning, you know today we have Miss Nikki Johnson, my oldest daughter. How's it going, Nikki?
Hey guys, it's going great. How are you?
I'm doing great, and we are here today to talk with you about one of our favorite subjects, and that's about how we're going to change the world. We know that sometimes it just takes one person. If it just takes one person to make an impact and make a change. So I wanted to have Nikki on today to help me talk about this subject, because Nikki also is producing and putting together a podcast. We're in the final stages of producing it and getting it ready to go. And it'll be up soon and live. But Nikki, why don't you tell me a little bit about your podcast and what you're planning on doing and how it's going to work?
Yeah, so it's called Teenage Hacks 101. Excuse me. And it is going to be very exciting because we get to go through a journey that usually you don't get to have when you are around my age. And we get to go through together and learn what the 1% is.
The 1%. We got to talk about the 1% a little bit more. What kind of lead in or not lead in, but what kind of information can you tell people about the 1%? Because that's kind of something that we talk about and that we've made up and attached to here. But sometimes I talk about it in terms of the 99. Don't be part of the 99, be part of the 1%. So tell me more about the 1%.
Okay, well, for me, it's knowing that other people exist and that other people have a lot of other problems that they're going through, and it's kind of just realizing that you're not the only one who has problems going on behind the scenes that no one knows about and that other people are struggling too.
Yeah. I think that's huge. I mean, it's so easy to sort of live in the Truman Show. I don't know if any of you remember that old show, The Truman Show, where Jim Carrey was the star, but he was in a little bubble, like this world that they created to create a reality TV show. And he was living his life, and they watched him from birth all the way to an adult, and it was turned into a TV show. But he didn't know that he was in a TV show, and so he went about his life as usual and kind of was in his own little world. And somewhere along the way in the show, he figured out that he wasn't the only one on the planet. And he of course wanted to get out and realize that there were more people in the world, and that he was sort of being used in that particular situation. But I think the point more is that we are not here alone. We do have our challenges. Each of us have our challenges, and we each have the things that we go through in life to have our experiences and to be able to experience life. And sometimes they're difficult and sometimes they're great, but it's really easy to get into a mode where the whole world revolves around you. And I think for a lot of teenagers, that may be the case. Do you think that's true?
Yeah. Most of the time, people don't really realize that it's just about them,
Right.
or that it's not just about them.
Right.
And they just need some help sometimes to realize that it's not, like I said, not just about them.
Why do you think it's better, Nikki, that we can see outside and understand that we're not part of that 99. We always talk about being part of the 99 as being a negative, right? We don't want to be in that mode where we don't realize others are around and exist and have their own problems. Why is it bad to be in that?
Because it just, some people it's okay because there's people like us to help them, but that's why people like us need to be here, is because the people that can't get out of the 99% just need help getting out of it, and that's what we're here for.
So everybody could be in the 1%, right? I mean, it's not like it's exclusive to just...
it's not just us. Like, if people want to be with us, then they can.
Right.
And if they're wanting to learn, then they can. That's what we're here for.
So it's about learning and growing and being able to help other people when they have their challenges. And hopefully when they're overcoming their challenges, maybe they'll see that they can be part of that 1% as well that helps other people. And hopefully it is contagious and it starts to spread, right?
Because if they help people also, once we help them, then it'll be expanding more.
Yeah. You showed me a mission statement that you wrote for one of your classes this year in school. Can you read that to me?
Yeah, sure. It says, I want to share the 1% with others so that people aren't stuck in the invisible world. The 1% is knowing that other people exist. It's knowing there's more in life than just your problems, and other people have problems too. If I can help everybody inspire at least 10 people, then just think of how much better the world will be. I am here to help and inspire others and to teach others and help them improve their life.
That's pretty cool. I love that. When you showed it to me, I was like, dang, that's exciting. That's super fun. And, you know, a lot of my audience, Nikki, is peak performers and people that want to live in a peak state or live in a place where that not only they can perform at their own best, but also try to help others perform at their best. So I think we have a very similar audience. I mean, who is your audience that you're trying to speak to specifically?
Right now, I'm going for kids my age, generally in high school, going through the same challenges as I am, and so we can work through it together. And
Nice. So, I mean, those of you out there that have children, I know there's some adults, and if you do have children, you should probably have them listen to Nikki's podcast. Like I said, it'll be out soon. What's the name of the podcast going to be?
Teenage Hacks 101.
Awesome. So we'll probably have that produced in the next couple of weeks. We're working on the final stages. You have a bunch of episodes already recorded, right?
I have a bunch of them coming out.
That's cool.
Almost ready to.
So for those of you that are bingers on podcasts, or maybe your kids don't even listen to podcasts, she'll have a whole bunch of them released all at once, and then they can start listening to her weekly podcast after that. You know, one of the ideas that you mentioned in that mission statement that I really love was this idea of if we could each just help 10 people. And I think that's really powerful. If we could help 10 people each and then they helped 10 people each, I think if we all did that within a year, like if I helped 10 people and then they helped 10 and then those 10 helped 10, the numbers are staggering. I think it was...
They would go up by a lot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it wouldn't even take more than maybe like 5 or 7 years. I had one of my guys do the math on it, and you could probably do it if you're a math whiz. And it doesn't take very long to add up to the entire population of the planet. We're talking 7 billion people on the planet.
Yeah, and 10 people isn't that much either.
Not in a year.
Like, not even close to what you'd want.
Right, exactly.
It's just a little sliver of it.
Well, and more than 10 people at school and in your world at dance, and so do I. And so, I mean, really, it seems really feasible for us to be able to help change the lives of 10 people in a positive way, give them a new outlook, give them a new perspective, give them just a different way to look at how they can overcome their challenges, and realize that there are lots of people out there that want to help them, and that they might actually be in a position to help other people. And I know that's something, like, as we got going to start your podcast, Nikki, that was something that you were concerned about. You were concerned about how can you help somebody because you're just a teenager, right?
Yeah.
So what have you thought about? What kind of things have you considered that are helping you to be able to do your podcast and be able to know that you can help other teenagers your age?
Well, it kind of helped me when you were like, hey, Nikki, it's not just like you can inspire people around your age. It's not just like adults that won't listen to you because you're just a teenager. Well, no, because adults will listen to teenagers if they're interested. Like, they will pay attention to you. And it's just kind of like I can help people that aren't my age, but people that are my age will benefit from my stuff more.
Probably because they can relate to you.
Yeah, because they can relate to me, and because they can, they can relate to me more. And
how did you overcome the idea that, I mean, we've talked about this a couple of times. I'm just curious what your thoughts are now. But how can you overcome the idea that you might not know enough to teach them? Like, they're your age and they're essentially the same as you. So how do you overcome that idea that you're trying to help them, but you feel like maybe you don't know what to help them with?
Well, that's still what I'm going through, actually. I've just kind of brainstormed, actually, a ton of ideas, and I figured out what I know, and if you figure out what you know, then you can teach people that don't know that don't know that stuff.
Right.
And so if you can teach people that don't know it, like just under you, then you can help them.
So you only have to be a couple steps ahead to be able to share that piece of knowledge that you have, right? Because I know for you and our family, one of the silly things that we do, we picked it up from one of our favorite mentors, Russell Brunson. He started a challenge with his kids where if they read a book that's about personal development and improvement of your life and your world, that I pay my kids $20. And they have to give me like a report at the end, not like a long stuffy report from school, but like 10 things that they learned or are going to use from that book. And so when they read those books, they can actually figure out stuff that they can do. But not a lot of people do that, right? I mean, that's not something that a lot of families do, but that's something we like to do.
And most people consider that boring too. But
well, yeah, maybe some people do until they need the help, right? And
until you need it, yeah.
They need somebody that studied it. And if we've been studying it, then we'll be in a position to help. But like, let's say, my son loves mountain biking right now. He loves dancing too, right? He loves to come and dance at the studio, but he just got infatuated with mountain biking. So right now he's been consuming massive amounts of information about mountain biking. So we go out on a bike ride and he's like, Dad, this is how you do this. And I'm like, how in the world do you know how to do that? So he knows way more about mountain biking than me, maybe not as much as, his best friend that's been in it for about a year or two, right? But he loves mountain biking now, and it's an additional hobby that he loves to do. Well, because of that, he's consuming tons of information, and he now knows more about mountain biking than Nikki or I. So we would look to him and go, hey, Nate, how do you do this? Hey, Nate, you just took apart that bike. How do you do this? And so now we're having to look to him.
Hey, my thing, like my chains came off my bike. Can you help us?
For sure. So he's now a couple steps ahead of me now. And honestly, that's how he can help. He could help somebody that was interested in that. Now, I'm just using that as a small example. He may or may not continue with mountain biking. You don't know, right? We don't know until we see after a few years. Maybe it'll just be a hobby that he likes to do for the rest of his life, But I think for each of you out there, we're looking at peak performance. We're looking about how to change the lives of somebody. I think you have to understand that you have a proficiency right now. You have something that you're great at. And, one of the things about Magic for Life and the podcast and my goal with it is we want to help people find their greatness. Everybody has a greatness inside of them, and that's really a goal. I want to help you find your greatness, not just perform at a peak, but when you are performing at a peak, you're finding your greatness. You're finding that thing that you're excellent at, that you're amazing at, and we would love to encourage you and to help guide you with, this podcast and with information that we bring out to be able to find and hit your optimum so that maybe you can go and share that with the world. And if you can go share it with the world, that sounds so epic, right? But
yeah, it kind of makes me think of the quote that we play in the studio. It says, "He who says he can't can, and he who says he can't are both usually right."
Now, who said that? Come on. Okay, tell us who you would say said it from your generation. You always tell me. Come on now.
I can't think of his name right now.
No, you always say it's Spider-Man.
Oh, wait, really? No,
it's not,
no.
It's not Spider-Man. It's Henry Ford.
No, with great responsibility. That's
the Spider-Man one.
That's the Spider-Man one.
Oh, no. Yeah. Well, he who says he can and he who says he can't
are both usually right.
Well, Will Smith says that's from Confucius, and it may be actually, and maybe Henry Ford got it from Confucius. I don't know. Yeah. It's all a bit of a jumble. Just Google it. Maybe you'll find the answer there. That's the easiest way, right?
Yeah, probably.
Anyway,
JC the other day, just get a new Google. You can find things better that way.
Yeah, if you can't find the answer, just get a new Google. I don't think Google would appreciate that. Right?
I don't think that's possible.
All right. Well, hopefully Google won't make our podcast hard to find now. Well, anyway, we love talking about this idea. I mean, really, if we could just help one other person. I mean, we're talking about 10, but like if you could change the lives of one other person and make their life better, how cool would that be? And if you do 10 in this year, I mean, that seems...
It seems scary at first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's totally doable.
It's totally doable, especially if you're trying to look at it in a year-long thing, then it's totally you're totally capable of doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, yeah, it's definitely possible.
Well, anyway, we are so glad that you joined us today, and I'm so happy you could join me today, Nikki, talking about one of our favorite topics. And we are going to close this episode up. But as usual, if you know somebody that you think this podcast would help, if you know a young person that maybe needs some encouragement, motivation, needs something that's going to help them along the way, maybe send them to the podcast. And of course, Nikki's podcast will be out soon.
Make sure to look for it.
Teenage Hacks 101.
Yes.
Right? And I believe we have that website, so you can, if you're interested in learning more about that podcast, then go over to teenagehacks101.com and check it out. Hopefully it'll be up and released soon. Like I said, we're in the final production of getting it ready to be released, and we'd love you to join Nikki on her podcast. But if you have somebody that you can share this podcast with, we'd love to change their life, love to change their world. And of course, don't forget, my new book is coming out soon. So
it's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be awesome. We're so excited. So make sure you keep an eye out for that, and we'll go from there. But we'll see you at the next podcast. Thanks for joining me today. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Want more Magic for Life? If so, then reserve your copy of my new book. Get your copy at everyminutebook.com. Inside this book, you'll find the secrets to attaining the next level of performance in anything you do. Learn the secrets behind emotional mastery that'll start you on your new journey of being a lifer. Whether you're an athlete, a business professional, or an artist, this book will change your life forever. Get your copy reserved today.